It says that Augustus was born around May 4th, 1825, and he died on 1909 in December. Now, there's something funny about the 1800s. You had a lot of Egyptomania going on. It wasn't long ago in the beginning of the 1800s, you had Napoleon going into Kemet, finding all of this Egyptian stuff. So that sparked the Egyptomania. I'm pretty sure Augustus' daddy would talk to him all the time about Napoleon, right? Now, it also says in this search, while his writings contain many notions that were not well received by his contemporaries and were later disproven, Le Plégion left a lasting legacy in his photographs documenting the ancient ruins. He was one of the earliest proponents of Mayaism. So, this dude was an amateur photographer, according to encyclopedia.com. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. It says amateur right here. Okay? So, all the stuff that Earth Speaks is quoting from comes from this dude right here in this book. Now, let's see what scientific community has to say about him. Well, according to the archaeologically, I can't even talk. According to the University of Mexico, Professor Lawrence G. Desmond says that he's full of shit. There's a whole article referencing Le Plugion's work. Now, in his early years, he did go down to the Yucatan. He was a photographer, right? He took his camera down there and he took great pictures. He was one of the first folks to go down there and to record all of that stuff. But he went down there with a pre-notion that he already had in his mind that the Maya was the cradle of civilization, and that's a cardinal rule that you break whenever you are archaeologists. You just don't do that. Right here it says in the article, why was Augustus Le Plégion, a pioneer Mayanist renowned for having made the earliest thorough and systematic photography documentations at the Yucatan site, later regarded by archaeologists as no more than a troublesome uh, eccentric who proposed preposterous theories about the Maya. Okay, now this is coming from the University of Mexico, PhD status. Is saying that Augustus Le Plégion is capping. Let's move on. Another article that the New York Times put out, big question mark right here. The cradle of civilization. You got to say it like that. The cradle of civilization also called Augustus Le Plégion out on his claims. Right here it says early Maya early archaeologists were a colorful, no more than colorful than Augustus and his wife Alice. Their Mayaness was a simple vision that the Mayas were the founders of world civilization. It also says history has not treated the Pleiadians well. Their contemporaries wrote them off as cranks. Modern critics have called them misguided romantics. Okay? So this is what the scientific community has been saying all these damn years about Augustus, about that damn book that Earth Speaks quoting from.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying, people? Let's see what else is said. Now, him and his wife spent almost 10 years in the Yucatan, right? And like I said, he's credited for taking a lot of great pictures, of the early Maya civilization. But he made a mistake of thinking that area was the cradle of civilization, right? So they spent the 10 years back. And look at what this says. It says by the time the exhausted couple returned to the United States for the last time in 1889, with the moon Choctaw were already a joke in archaeological circles. You hear that? They was considered a joke, a big ass joke. I don't know if y'all can see that, right? A joke. That's what this book is a joke. They were saying this in 1884.
And that means they heard him out too.
Yeah.
They heard you out to know what you're talking about and come to that conclusion. They was listening. They keep on saying they trying to hide it from you. No, they laughed it off after they listened to the shit. They didn't hide it. Because they archived all his shit. He got a big ass archive.
Sure do.
In one of these institutions. But they still got to be honest, the shit was capped.
Yeah. Like, we'll save your shit, but we got to be truthful about this science. Assessments of the past, the LePlug-Jones was ignored, even ostracized. That's what it says down here. Now, this is one of the artifacts, right, that I think was recovered from that site in the 1800s. If I'm pronouncing that correctly, Choctaw. But look at the date, family. This is from the Met Museum. Can y'all see that? You can actually go to the museum and check this out. But it's not that damn old. How can this be the cradle of civilization, and you're finding artifacts that are not that old? That's between 800 and 1250 Common Era. Now, compare that to the University of Chicago, and you find the Castule incense burner in Nubia dating back 32 BC to 3000 BC. So you can't compare anything with Nubia or the Egyptians to the Maya. You can't say that the Maya civilization was an early civilization when we can find pre-dynastic incense burners in Nubia from the A group. This is from the A group, very early. And that's a picture of the Castule incense burner right there. Let me see if I can take this out. I don't even want to go over them joints. But yeah, that's your man's right there. This is where he's getting all of his work from. From this book that's been discredited by all of his contemporaries. And I'm trying to see if I can get out of this. Okay, where we at? I just want to see if I got some more stuff, y'all. Okay. Now, as far as the Mayan script, now Sutton already addressed this script, the writing script between the Egyptians and Maya. But this is from world.org. Anybody can look up this, and we're talking about the Maya writing. And it says it's going back 300 BC. Everybody see that? Okay. Now let's compare this to Egypt. Really quick Google search, everybody. Same site. We're talking about Egypt now. Kemet writing, right? What does that say? 31 BC to 26 BC. When we had incense burners and shit like that. And when you compare the scripts, they're not identical. Now Sutton already did a really excellent job addressing that in the debate, but you can't compare the two. When you look at when the Maya, how old is the Maya civilization? What it's saying about 1800 BC? Let's say I'm sorry, yeah, 1800, 2000 BC approximately, right? So, what was going on in Kemet? We had an 11 dynastic. We were in our 11 dynastic era in Kemet. You cannot compare the two. You can't compare the two. So I'm gonna go back to these slides real quick. What we got? And that's mainly what I wanted to bring to the table.
Do we have any plates?
Never forget, Augustus Le Plongeon was an amateur. Never forget that the University of Mexico stated he was a quack. Never forget.
And let me ask you something. Do you see anywhere on there where they call him a doctor?
No.
Never called him a doctor?
No.
And his wife's books, his wife, in her works, she's calling him a doctor.
He's not. I've never seen. That's my first time hearing that. I honestly.
Yeah, that was a weird ass book. That shit was strange. She was calling him, and Dr. Le Plongeon said, and Dr. Le Plongeon, I said, who the fuck is she talking about? Her husband?
Yeah, this dude don't got no. He was a photographer. He's the equivalent. He's the equivalent of whatever we got in our hand right now, our iPhone. He was the first cat to come down there and document good shit on his iPhone. That was it. So whenever you guys hear Earth Speaks talks about Queen Mu and the Egyptian Sphinx, we know it's coming from this guy right here, and we know that the scientific community has discredited this dude ever since 1884. So with that, I'm gonna close out. If you ever hear this dude right here talking that shit, because look, this is what he's look. This is him. That's Earth, and he's been talking about this book for damn near 4 weeks, I think. All right.
Like they were privy to, and they was not privy to this information. They got this information from our people. The Mayans had all of it. Man, they had it all.
I'm out.
That boy hit the blunt hard.
I wasn't wasting no time.
Hold on, y'all.
Oh boy, I got another one.
I'm trying to see.
Yeah, all of that shit he's got, it comes from all of the same teachings, all of that stuff. Oh yeah, I got a special. Hold up. Even the dude said Jesus spoke Maya too. I saw that.
I ain't got it in.
God did.
Yeah, Augustus believed that Jesus spoke Maya. Let me see if I can find that real quick, y'all.
Alright, I gotta send this to my phone because I don't have it in here. I thought I had it.
That's some disrespectful shit. So they gave them the truth. They gave them Jesus. Or the language, actually. They gave them the language. And they came back and tried to give them Jesus, but didn't know who the hell they was talking about. You civilized everybody.
That's why I was telling people that they was.
That don't even make sense.
Well, look at this real quick, fam. This is from what's this? Anthropology.msu.edu. Y'all got that? Now, this is a long read, but I just want to show y'all the source just to let y'all know I ain't BSing y'all. But it says, in the case particularly fascinating to me was Augustus Le Plongeon claimed that Jesus spoke the Mayan language. Le Plongeon believed that the last word Jesus had said before he had died on the cross was spoken in the Mayan language. Now, I'm not going to go into too much of this because it talks about it in great detail right here.
So as you can see, it's bringing you back to mythology. Jesus is playing in North America with the Mayans. That's Mormonism.
It don't lead back to a laboratory. It don't lead back to a dissertation. It don't lead back to lab results. It don't lead back to shit but outer space, aliens, imaginary shit. Every time.
Where that shit say at? I'm proud of Jesus spoke. Y'all see that? Jesus spoke the Mayan language. That's what he on.
And that's the Mormons.
Yeah, see, it all connects. Everything connects. It went right back in full circle right there. I'm glad you brought up the Mormon stuff, Mo, because it brought, you know what I mean?
That's what it is.
Yeah, it's right.
It's just what it is. It's supposed to circle. Look, that's what it is. Yeah. All we did was draw the whole picture. That's exactly what's going on, and that's why they got to debunk all the other shit. Everything else is debunked because they trying to create this other spin. It's this other narrative they trying to create. And what they don't know is that you using an eraser that's so big, you erasing yourself.
Mm-hmm. Taking yourself out of history by subscribing to these views that are against you in the first damn place. And your ass is too damn slow to pick it up. It's chess, not checkers out here. They've been playing this game for a long time. So y'all just witnessed a good, comprehensive dismantling of all this shit.
Yeah, y'all put on that shit.
All I have is cologne.
Now, if y'all want to see a post, I made a little short post about it as well.
Hold on. Hold up.
All right, I'm back.
All right, are you done, Port City?
Yeah, that's it, man. I just wanted to hit y'all up with that Jesus speaking Maya joint at the last bit. I almost forgot that part.
So y'all did a great job, crucial job.
Now this is just a rundown of encyclopedia I did of Lepungion. It says, although Lepungion theories were deemed outlandish by contemporaries, Alfred Maudslay and Theobert Mahler and were nearly forgotten as a result. His methodological approach and dedication to understanding Mayan culture provided scholars with valuable visual and contextual information. His work also provides insight into the 19th century fascination with Mayan culture. Them boys was wigging out. Hold on. Now let me see. I'm trying to see if I got this in order in my phone.
What's that from, man? What was that from?
What?
That you just read?
Just wiki.
Okay. I get jelly when you find more Augusta shit than I do.
I'm trying to find where to start at. So y'all can see exactly what I'm about to start reading. Okay, here it goes. So they
Again, family, this is a comprehensive.
They got it in order on my own
Alex.
phone. It says he left Peru in 1870 and traveled to San Francisco, where he gave a number of illustrated lectures at California Academy of Science on Peruvian archaeology and the cases of earthquakes. It was at this time that Lepungion began full-time research on Mayan civilization and started to use photography as a tool for his research rather than as a commercial enterprise. He left California and traveled to New York, and by 1871 he was at the British Museum in London to study Americanist manuscripts. He hoped these would give him a deeper understanding of the Maya and back up his growing belief that they were the chief bearers of culture throughout the world. It was while he was in London that he met and married Alice Dixon, with whom he would collaborate for the rest of his life. Alice, born in London in 1851, was well educated and had been taught photography by her father, Henry Dixon. Dixon was recognized in the late 19th century for his contributions to develop panchromatic photography and for his photos
Yeah,
of
panchromatic.
London. I can't see the last part. So,
And that's, remember, y'all, he was a photographer now. Y'all gonna hear a lot of photo words. Right.
right. By 1873, after Augustus had made what he considered to be a complete comparative study of Mayan and Egyptian religion, linguistics, and architecture, he concluded that Maya culture had been diffused throughout Southeast Asia by Maya travelers who had then gone on to the Middle East where they founded Egypt. While most archaeologists of the early and mid 19th century placed Mayan civilization later than Egypt, the chronologies were still uncertain, and Li Plungion's theory found some limited acceptance. In 1873, Li Plungion traveled to Yucatan and remained there almost continuously until 1885 in search of cultural connections between the Mayan and Egypt. Or between the Maya and Egypt. They used photography to record what they considered evidence of those connections, but also attempted to through throughout photographic records of the sites for future research. Their photographic work was methodological and systematic, and they took hundreds of 3D stereo
Pictures.
photos. They documented
Pictures, see?
entire Maya buildings such as the Governor's Palace at X Mall in, I can't see the overlapping photos by placing the camera. I can't see the last part. Okay, so I got it right here. Overlapping photos placing the camera on a tall tripod or scaffold to correct for perspective and then process the plate in the dark rooms of Maya buildings. I just want to make sure I'm reading.
They were photographers.
Yeah.
They were
So,
good at it.
addition to entire facade of buildings, they also photographed small artifacts and agriculture details such as bas reliefs, hieroglyphic text, and sculptures. Each negative was exposed and processed with great care, and often it took several attempts before the sharpness and exposure were considered acceptable. Convinced that they had found the source of world civilization, the Lipungians spent a total of 10 months at Chexi in Itza. I messed that up. During two
Yeah, I know what you're saying
seasons,
though.
during
Chechen.
Chichen Itza,
Yeah, something like that.
during 2 seasons and lived in Axmal, yes. They're alright. Tell the Terry gonna flip those burgers. For several months during the course of 3 expeditions, making photos and molds. Hold on, y'all. At Chichen Itza, they excavated a chacmol from the platform of the Eagles and Jaguars and documented the excavations of the platform of Venus with photos as
Now,
well.
hold on, real quick, Sutton. Pause, real quick. Remember, I told y'all that artifact that wasn't that old. That's what Sutton's talking about. That chalk move. I'm gonna try to pull it up. Keep going.
From the platform of the Eagles and Jaguars and documented their excavations of the platform of Venus with photos as well as plan and cross-section drawings. They also visited and photographed other Maya sites such as Azamal and Isla Majores. I'm guessing that's how you say that. So, by the 1880s, while other Americanists fully accepted that the Maya post-dated Egypt, Lapongion refused. He refused to yield to the new findings. He stood by his years of field-in archival studies and challenged those he considered armchair archaeologists to debate the issue, but the chronology and evidence against cultural diffusion was overwhelming, and he very quickly found himself ignored, his theories condemned to the fringe of the new profession. Auguste Leplongeon spent his final 23 years in Brooklyn, New York, writing about the Maya in Egypt and defending himself against detractors. He died in Brooklyn in 1908 at the age of 83. Alice died 2 years later when she was 59, while the conclusions of Auguste Leplongeon have not stood the test of time. The photos of Augustus and Alice remain an important contribution to American archaeology. And I just want to point out, when you go back and you read, it says he died at the age of 83 and his wife died at the age of 59.
Whoopsies.
So how old was he when he got with her?
I ain't even do the math on that. Damn, son,
No,
you
yeah,
really got the daggers out the night.
Hold on, I just want to make sure that's.
Oh, and another thing, Brett, real quick about 1908. He died. See, this is the thing about Egyptomania. He died in 1908, and a year later, in 1909, you had the Egyptian hoax that artifacts was found in the Grand Canyon. That next year.
Yep.
So all of this Egyptomania stuff has been just gone on and on and on and on. But I just wanted to point that out. And the picture that Patah put up there is younger than the incense Castile burner that I put up. Like that's that. What y'all looking at is the Chamul or the Chakamul. That's one of the artifacts that was recovered during the 10 years that Leplongeon was down there, and he thought that predated Egyptian artifacts. When we have a Castile incense burner family right here, that's going back to 3100 BC. Now you compare what Patah got up there, and you can compare what I have down here, and the dates don't match up. It's saying this incense burner is older than an artifact that Leplongeon digged up in the 1800s.
Right. Studio Castile is older than that.
Exactly.
Shit.
So don't mess around with death row. And again, they don't know what the people that they're citing is saying. Leplongeon was saying that these people are the original people who created these cultures.
Yep, they went all around the world. That's what Mayanism is.
That's right. He's not saying what they think he's saying, and they got nothing to do with what the hell they support. He's saying that it's Egypt. It's a connection to Egypt.
Yep.
The same thing with Quatrophagus and Clyde Winters.
So they wanted this Egypt in America thing to happen so bad. I mean, a year later, after Leplongeon died, you had the great hoax of the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I got that shit too.
With the fake me out artifacts that's in there. A year later now, that's how bad this shit was.
Now, when you read this, it says Desmond Lawrence Gustav, Augustus Leplongeon, a fall from archaeological grace. And Alice B. K. I don't even know how to Kehoe, and Mary Beth M. I don't even know how to say her last name. Emmerich, editors assembling the past studies and the professionalism of archaeology, University of New Mexico University Press. So you guys look into their works, and they're gonna tell you they're writing articles about this man and the Desmond Lawrence guy, and how they fell from archaeological grace.
Now, mind you, Desmond is a PhD from the University of Mexico.
And he believed in the same stuff.
Right.
Boy, he believed in. Matter of fact, they tell you at page 81 through 90, and it's the in 1999 in this book, chapter Laplangion's downfall as an archaeologist is attributed to his stubborn refusal to accept the chronologies of Egypt and Mesoamerica, and to his direct and personal challenge to university members of the new professional field of archaeology. Laplangian Alice, here and there in Yucatan, J.W. Boughton, New York, 1886, a reprint of many of Alice Dixon LePlongeon's popular articles on their explorations and adventures in Yucatan. LePlongeon Alice, Queen Moose Talisman, Peter Peter Eckler, publisher, New York, 1902, presents a book-length account in poetic form of kingship, political intrigue, murder, and the loss of empire at Chichen Itza. Parallels the account given in Queen Mu in the Egyptian Sphinx by Ugly Plongeon. I think I got one more and then that's it.
Finish him.
Yeah, this is just going over the works. It says that LaPlongeon Augustus, Queen Mu in the Egyptian Sphinx by Arthur New York, considered by Augustus to be his most important work, in which he sets forth his evidence that the Maya were the founders of the Egyptian civilization. LaPlongeon August, The Origin of the Egyptians, were the Word Magazine, volume 17, and it's page 19 through 20. I'm not going to go through all of that. So I'm just going to go to published after his death. This serialized account sets forth his theory that the Maya diffused their culture by traveling across the Pacific to South Asia and then to the Middle East, where they found Egyptian civilizations. Watch Hope, Robert, Lost Tribes and Sunken Continents. Now remember, the Lost Tribes and Sunken Continents, Lost Tribes is going to take you back to what we want to call religion. And the Sunken Continents is the same thing that I keep telling y'all when it comes to these esoteric and these people from the Theosophic Society with the 7 root races. But when you go to the dude that I was telling y'all about, Albert Wagner, and you look up his continental drifts, you're gonna see that this lost continents that these people keep talking about don't exist. So it says the Lost Tribes and Sunken Continents, University of Chicago Press, 1962. The book includes a short chapter on Augustus and Alice Lee Plongeon, in which Augustus is characterized as little more than an deluded explorer and troublesome eccentric, and Alice as a unthinking wife who did no more than pirate his unfounded diffusionist theories on the Maya. And this is your boy right here. It says the British. He was a British American archaeologist who and photographer who studied the pre-Columbian ruins of America, particularly those of the Mayan civilization on the northern Yucatan Peninsula. So he didn't study all of the Mayan civilization. He just studied the part on the Yucatan Peninsula. Well, he probably did. I don't know. But this is just a summary. Well, if you guys go and look at my video where I show the migration of the language, and what is that, like a fourth? No, it's a 6-minute video. It just goes through the time periods, and it'll show you what I'm talking about. While his writings contained many notions that were not well received by his contemporaries and were later disproven, Laplangian left a lasting legacy of his photographs documenting the ancient ruins. He was one of the earliest proponents of Mayanism. Now, when you look up, I'm going to read this, and then after this, y'all can have the floor. Because after this, it goes into the esoteric and the Theosophical Society with Madame Blavatsky and Aleister Crowley and Ron L. Hubbard. Mayanism is a non-credified eclectic collection of New Age beliefs influenced in part by pre-Columbian Maya mythology and some folk believe of the modern Mayan peoples. Contemporary Mayanism placed less emphasis on contacts between the ancient Mayan and lost land than in the work of early writers such as Godfrey Higgins, Charles Etienne Bachar de Bourg, I don't even know how to say that, Borg, and Auguste Le Plongeon, alluding instead to possible contacts with extraterrestrial life. I'm going to say it again.
What?
Alluding instead to possible contacts with extraterrestrial life. However, it continues to include reference to Atlantis. Notions about extraterrestrial influence on the Maya can be traced to the book Chariots of the Gods by Eric von Däniken, whose ancient astronaut theories were in turn influenced by the work of Peter Colosimo and especially the team of Jacques Bergier and Louis Powells, author of La Monte des Magicians. These later writers were inspired by the fantasy literatures of H.P. Lovecraft. Don't we love this show? We love the three black people in H.P. Lovecraft. And what was it, one season? And then they just discontinued it? We love the show. And the publications by Charles Fort. However, there remain elements of fascination with lost continents and lost civilizations. I think that's the last one that I got. Yeah. Well, it's not the last, but I can keep going. I can keep going if y'all want.
Oh, it ain't never over. We gonna keep going and going and going.
Yeah, it just says Mayanism has gained renewed vigor due to pseudo-scientific non-fic. I don't know what pseudo-scientific non-fiction is. So maybe Mo and Patai, y'all can help me out with that because I don't know what that is.
You know how somebody say instead. You know how somebody say it's my truth.
Yeah.
That's basically what that is.
They call them
scientific non-fiction. Oh, it's my truth.
This is him right here, Sir Francis Galton. This is who he is. This is Charles Darwin's first cousin, half cousin.
Yeah.
You see Charles Darwin, this Charles Darwin family. So you gotta take a look at him. This guy right here. He the one who steps in and take over. Go ahead and finish.
All right, so it says nonfiction by authors such as Eric von Däniken, Zacharias Stitchens. Y'all love him. If you go listen to Energy of Atlas, he brings him up all the time. And Graham Hancock. If you guys don't know who Graham Hancock is, you guys look him up because Sarah Soon said he talks about him a lot.
Right.
Whose theories range from invoking ancient astronauts and other extraterrestrial forms outer space to revivals of the idea that ancient people from lost lands brought wisdom and technology to the Maya. The implication of this is that the Mayas had access to aspects of ancient knowledge, spiritualism, philosophy, and religion that are useful for coping with the modern world, whether by avoiding Armageddon, embracing a mystical apocalypse, or constructing a future utopia. Mayanism has a complex history that draws from many different sources on the fringes of mainstream archaeology. It has gained growing attention throughout its influence on popular culture, throughout pulp fiction, science fiction, fantasy literature, and more recently, cinematographic novels, fantasy role-playing games, especially Dungeons and Dragons.
Wow. Wow.
Mayanism has no central doctrine. However, a basic premise is that the ancient Maya understood aspects of human experience and human consciousness that remain poorly understood in modern Western culture. This includes insights into cosmology and I don't even know what that word is, eschatologically, as well as lost knowledge of advanced technology and ecologically that when known can be used to improve the human condition and create a future utopia. However, as a new age belief system, Mayanism scorns academic scholarship, giving preference to knowledge gained through revelation and prophecy into traditional knowledge. The belief of Mayanism tend to be characterized by a combination of esotericism and syncretism rather than being a result of either formal controlled field research or detailed scholarly research that has been based on a broad range of primary sources. So it's simply telling you that they just make up whatever they want. And this is the last one I'm gonna read. Western esotericism, also known as exotericism. Exotericism is in sometimes the Western mystery tradition. It's a term scholars use to categorize a wide range of loosely related ideas and movements that develop within Western society. These ideas and currents are united since they are largely distinct both from Orthodox Judeo Christian religions and Enlightenment rationalism. Esotericism has pervaded various forms of Western philosophy, religion, pseudoscience, art, literature, and music, and continues to influence intellectual ideas in pop culture. And it also ties into paganism. Paganism, Freemasonry, occultism, Darwinism. This is the stuff that Mayanism is. It ties itself to. That's just all the stuff that y'all see in blue. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn.
That's right. Y'all check that out when y'all get a chance. Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. That's different. That hit way different.
A pseudo archaeology
talk. That's that crazy talk.
They say we making up this stuff when we clearly all of us have clearly shown you where they get their information from, but we're wrong.
We can source up. We can source up everything.
Nothing said Akashic records, ancestors, Earth speaks, Yahweh. These are all Europeans.
And I wish Benton was
Every single source was a European. Now you see why they saying our sources come from Europeans.
Right.
Because all of their sources come from Europeans.
They have been debunked. And look, and then when they get caught in the lie, they say, oh, nah, it's family heritage. They passed it down the line.
Right.
That's the thing they say now.
And guess who's coming on the scene? Ironically, that's when you get our men and women coming on the scene.
Yeah.
Getting involved in archaeology. Right around the time this shit is getting debunked. They starting to go over there, they looking and saying, oh, wait a minute, hold up, we wasn't savages, what the fuck is this? This is the same time we coming on the scene.
Yeah.
So that can't be, that was not our people saying that shit, and we just getting on the scene.
Yeah.
And we give the big
Jesus spoke Maya, bro.
Names, those are the big wigs. When he's calling out that blue right, those are the big wigs. Those are the occult institutions they was a part of, which all lead back to Gutenberg. But like I said, the early so-called scholars was going to learn in Germany.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely a school of thought on that shit.
Right.
I don't think they understand what that means though when you say school of thought. I really don't think they get that part.
You know what I'm saying?
Bro, they don't read their source
School.
material.
This is how we're able, even though we may be a little rusty, because we all heard this shit before. We just had to go back and refresh our memories. Like, wait a minute, hold up. The Mayan language, the people, the black. Yo, I heard this shit before. You go all the way back to it and start digging it up again. But the way you can get a hunch as to where they going and know, like, oh, that's that native black indigenous shit they talking about. It's because it is a school of thought. You're thinking a certain way. You're not going to get a degree and then you go into a building and then you learn how to use a machine. You know how to do maintenance on the machine, diagnostics and all of that, or upgrade, make another piece to it or whatever, because you learn electricity and you learn the computer system or whatever. That's not what it is. The school of thought is, I'm going to make you think a certain way. So now when you talk to somebody else who already knows that school of thought, I know what, hold on, wait, that sounds familiar. Hold on, I'll be right back.
Right.
I remember that thought. Because you think a certain way. You cannot get around it. You're taking that person's mindset and you spewing it out, trying to make it seem like it's yours. I got it from the Akashic Records.
Right, and you think it's some 19th century. No, man. This late 17, early 18.
Yeah, that's when they was running game on your ass.
Trying to get that money because
They was trying to hurry up and create an old world before your black ass got up and realized what it really was. They was scrambling. You know, so look, it's sad too because a lot of people don't even know why they sitting there debunking them. They don't even know they was trying to help them out. They're like, bro, we don't have no goddamn origin story. We gotta steal somebody's shit. They over there debunking him. He like, nigga, I'm trying to help us out.
I found a 6-toe person you talking about. I found us.
Alright. You don't understand, if these niggas wake up, if they get up, we gotta make up this shit right now before they get up. They coming. They tried. They failed though. They couldn't create, the old world is gonna be the old world. So you need evidence that's gonna blow shit out the water. Well, you gotta make niggas empty museums. Come on, man. Africa's filling up museums all over the world. America don't do that. There would be no point of America doing that because America is a mixture of everybody else's culture. So we don't need no shit in a museum from over here. Everything from Africa is in all types of museums all over the world, and they still got enough. Africa can get robbed for a straight one. I'm saying like a hypothetical. It did get robbed for thousands of years, and it still got shit. America's like running through somebody's house or some shit. You run through there, what they got? They ain't got nothing. You can keep running back and forth to Africa robbing shit. Everybody's still robbing Africa. What the Pope just say? What he say? Take your foot off, get your hands off of Africa's neck. Stop choking Africa. Some shit. Look that shit up. Look up. The Pope said, "Stop choking Africa." He's like, everybody's coming over there trying to get a piece of Africa. Leave them the fuck alone.
The underdeveloped of Africa is a necessity for other powers to be on the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, they gotta have Africa down for them